Zelda Breath of the Wild. Hi everyone, it's me, and today let's watch this video together.
The following contains spoilers for Kakariko Village and a handful of Sheikah NPCs in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. If you're cool with that, then watch on, dear viewer.
You have been warned. Spoilers. Game exchange, culture shock.
Everyone, 𝐻𝐿𝐴 here.
Hi, 𝐻𝐿𝐴.
Well, I suppose it was only a matter of time before I covered Breath of the Wild on the Theorists channel. What started off as discovering the real-world Buddhist ties to the Sheikah monks of Hyrule Shrines over on my channel has actually sent me on a massive roller coaster of research when it comes to this game. The Zora, the Garuda, the Gorons. For a while I had absolutely no idea where to get started with all this material. But there's one thing in particular that the internet's been buzzing about over the last couple of months. The visual connections between Breath of the Wild's Sheikah and Japan's oldest historical period, the Jomon. Now, to a lot of people, this might not be anything new. I know a couple of YouTubers like 𝐿𝐴 have actually covered this before, and heck, even the Breath of the Wild's art director Satoru Takizawa came out and straight up said that he based Sheikah technology off of Japan's Jomon period. But something I've noticed in this game is that while yes, some of the connections between the Sheikah and the Jomon are pretty easy to see, it's not just the Sheikah tech that borrows from the Jomon period. Far from it. In fact, there's a lot more connecting the Sheikah as a people to the Jomon than the technology that they constructed.
Not just the technology, but the people as well.
But I know not everyone's on the same page here, so let me back up to the beginning and show you guys just how insanely inspired the entirety of the Sheikah are to the people of ancient Japan's Jomon period. First off, we gotta talk about the obvious one, the tech. This is your garden variety Guardian. Designed with the erratic movements of Zelda's original Octoroks in mind, this thing is an absolute bane to anyone trying to get around Hyrule Field without the right equipment. And this is your garden variety Jomon clay vessel, dating back between...
From my experience, it can be quite a hassle to meet with this individual.
In 3000 and 2000 BCE, it's been historically noted that when it comes to ceramic pottery, these are the oldest in the world.
Wow!
Now let's have a look at them side by side. Notice anything similar? Well, what if I flip this over? Or shoot, let's cut out the middleman and compare this pot to the Flying Guardians. Cause yeah, those guys are a barrel of fun in this game. It's absolutely no surprise how Jomon pottery made a massive impact on the design of these Guardians. The thick, spiraling patterns, the several holes near the wide end of the item, the rugged cusp, even the color and definition is one-to-one with these guys. Seriously, all you'd have to do is attach a few fans to one of these pots and BAM! Instant Guardian. Anyway, that's the big, more obvious reference that the internet's been talking about for a few months now.
Did you just say fans instead of propellers?
But there's one that a lot of people missed, which actually surprises me greatly considering how obvious this connection is. In the far northeastern corner of the map, you'll find 𝐴𝐿𝐴 Ancient Tech Lab, where you're introduced to the heavy rockin' Robbie.
Oh yeah! Robbie!
His wife, the mild-mannered Jaren, and Cherry, the mostly functional Sheikah tech vendor. Now, if you thought the Guardian's connection to Jomon pottery was plain as day, have a look at this. This is what's known as a dogu, a 3,000-year-old clay figure who even to this day is wrapped up in all kinds of mystery. Some say it functioned as a fertility idol in prehistoric Japan, while others say it was used as an effigy to entrap sickness or bad luck, and then was destroyed, ridding the owner of it said sickness or bad luck. Either way, the exaggeratedly large eyes with tiny slits for eyelids and mouth on top of the complicated swirl patterns is absolutely one-to-one with Cherry. But like I said, this is only the beginning. There's a great deal more that connects the Sheikah with the Jomon Age Japanese. For example, the people themselves. Just about every Sheikah wears the exact same thing. I mean, the game straight up confirms this. A base white coat with red trim on top of dark navy blues or blacks. Though it's rare since we don't see many Sheikah disrobed, some of them, like Pikango, are actually tattooed with swirls all over their body. And as far as gender-based clothing goes, while men and women can both be seen wearing pantsuits, many of the Sheikah ladies opt in to wear long dark skirts under their overcoats. However, all Sheikah have their hair put up in a bun held in position by what looks like chopsticks.
That's interesting. That's really interesting that the games actually took some reference from real-world aspects of history. I really respect those individuals. That's awesome.
And while you might think that's a woman-only thing, even the Sheikah men have their hair pinned up. Now, as for the Jomon people and their dress, do bear in mind that the entire Jomon period is spread over literally thousands of years, which implies that dress and style will likely have evolved over that long period of time.
True.
But believe it or not, the Sheikah in Breath of the Wild have actually captured the thousands of years of Jomon dress evolution very, very closely.
Wow.
In various examples I found in my research, Jomon clothing focuses heavily on light tans and whites, reds, and dark shades like black, with most if not all of the red acting as decorative trim to the light or dark base clothing, just like the Sheikah. Also just like the Sheikah, both men and women of the Jomon periods not only wore their hair up in buns, but would have it held there by inserting various decorative shafts into them. And while I could only find a few images, I have seen models in Jomon clothing who wore dark colors underneath light tan overcoats. I've also researched several anthropologists that say based on the many ceramic human figures like the previously mentioned Dogu, it's been theorized that the Jomon would tattoo their own bodies in the various swirl designs that they fancy so much in their clothing and pottery, much like Ppkongo in Breath of the Wild. I mean, seriously, the Jomon period is literally defined by their esoteric love of these swirls. Jomon literally means chord marks or chord patterns, which is what you see in nearly everything that these people produce.
The chord patterns.
It's on their art, it's on their skin, and especially on their clothes. But it isn't just the dress of the Sheikah that pulls heavily from Jomon period fashion. A lot of designs and color schemes have actually bled into some of the Sheikah weapon designs. Case in point, in my research I found dozens of separate images that show Jomon people, particularly ladies, as sporting a more black base red trim motif. And if you look at all the different weapons between the Sheikah and the Yiga, remember they were the same people only up until 100 years ago, most of their weapons like the Serpentine Spear, the Wind Cleaver, the Fenric Bow, and the Duplex Bow have the same reoccurring pattern of black and red. But the Jomon references with the Sheikah go beyond just hair, clothing, and weapons. Architecture pulls a big influence from the Jomon period as well. 𝐶𝐸𝐸 village is littered with buildings that are constructed with a wooden foundation and base, with a wide brim thatched roof. While these houses are far more modern, they do indeed parallel Jomon architecture. Because again, the Jomon period lasted for thousands of years, so architecture was bound to evolve over time. But the Sheikah houses do a pretty good job of hybridizing the various stylings of Jomon housing into one design. Jomon buildings range from round domed pit housing to more angular housing depending on location and date. Early Jomon housing looked like a thatched teepee that reached the ground if not built into the ground itself, but over time, Jomon architecture began to expand into longer, more modern houses that had distinguishable walls and roofing. Go further into the period and you start to see homes becoming not only more angular, but also begin to utilize an upraised foundation to prevent damage from flooding.
From the flooding, which Japan have a lot.
Japan does have a pretty nasty typhoon season called Tsuyu from June to early August after all. And when you look back on the houses in 𝐶𝐸𝐸 village,
from my experience, it's horrible.
You can see plain as day the influences taken from the long history of Jomon architecture. You've got the overbearing rounded thatch roofs of earlier designed Jomon housing blended with the more angular structure of the base with later Jomon housing. And on top of that, you have the raised foundation with a ramp or stairwell leading up to the front door, similar again to the late Jomon housing. Cause I don't know about your game, but for me, it is forever freaking raining in 𝐶𝐸𝐸 village, and living next to a waterfall in a basin of mountains is just asking for flood issues. There's a lot more you could talk about when it comes to the Sheikah's connection to the Jomon period, like
with a lot of water situations.
How the interior of 𝐶𝐸𝐸's buildings have that Jomon-style swirl for some reason or another, as well as the markings on their lamps looking a little too similar to the Jomon written language. And like I said guys, this is only one of 6 some-odd civilizations in Hyrule that desperately needs cultural dissection. And believe it or not, I am still not done with the Sheikah because who and what they are go far and beyond just their Jomon connections. But I don't think Matt would appreciate another 3 videos on the same topic, so I'll probably just have to plop it over on my channel. But hey, if you're dying for even more culture in Zelda, I've done plenty of videos here on the Theorists channel that cover some of the most bizarre origins to some of Zelda's most iconic characters. Or if you're missing MatPat's buttery voice, do yourself a favor and revisit his Link is Dead video. It's honestly my favorite video that he has ever done. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the newest Theorist videos. But until next time everyone, this is 𝐿𝐿 signing out.
Wow, that escalated quickly. Thank you so much for watching this video. Yeah, if you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel and I sincerely appreciate all of your support and uplifting words for me. Your encouragement is very I'm very thankful for it. Thank you. But hey, that's just a game. A game exchange! Culture shock. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in my next video. Subscribe!